We are live. It says that we are live. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is doing well. Had a few minutes tonight and I was like, you know what? Why not go live for a little bit? Brian Sherlin, what's going on, man? I did not buy any Bitcoin today, but I did see that it did drop some. But it's kind of hovered around the same. It's just been kind of in that, 29, 30,000 mark. Actually, I didn't check it over the last couple hours. Maybe it's down further, but I did not buy any today. But I'm watching it. Alex, Global Sports Card Investor, what is going on? Good to see you. Hope all is well down under. Same to you. Yeah, same to you. Wild times. Yeah, hope you guys are doing okay. Hoff Van Dam, morning. Morning, mate. Are you also in Australia? I can't remember. Or are you in New Zealand? I don't remember which one it was, but I remember you were on a live stream previously. What's up, CV Sports Cards? Good to see you. How's everybody doing? Anybody going to a show this weekend? A local show or traveling to a show? Did you go to the Dallas show? You guys overseas, I know you didn't. So sorry, I wasn't trying to rub that in. Iconic Trading Cards, good to see you. From DC, still live in Atlanta on a business trip. Nice. Nice. I'm not too far from DC. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina area, so that's not too far away. New Zealand, that's right. Card stock trading, okay, in California. Trevor, what's going on? Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. The Raleigh card show is June 23rd, 24th, something like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Actually, Flippin' Steve is flying in for that one. Steve's going to fly in. We're going to do the old Raleigh card show. I know that I could be completely wrong, but I think that there's going to be deals there. And I'm trying to be patient. There's stuff that I want to buy now. And I'm like, you know what? Just relax. Just wait. Just wait a little bit. Give it a little bit of time. It's not like the stuff I'm chasing is like one of one, to where they come up every year or something. I mean, they're not they're not super common. It's stuff that's like pop, 300, 400, 500, or something like that. So it's not crazy rare. So they come around. I just need to relax. No Bitcoin for Ryan. Ryan's sticking to baseball cards. That's fair enough. 68 Topps Rod Carew for $20. Awesome stuff. Yeah, vintage baseball doesn't seem to have skipped a beat from what I hear on the streets. Speaking of vintage baseball, Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, also on Bench Clear Media, he reached out to me and invited me to Hobby Palooza. I was on that last year. That's kind of the weekend virtual event that those guys put on Bench Clear Media. I'm excited to join them. That's going to be in a few weeks. So that's coming up. I don't think they've really announced. They haven't announced it yet, as far as I know, but I'm excited to be a part of it this year again. That's going to be fun. And yes, real estate asset collector, I am going to the hot tub later. Absolutely. It's already been a week and it's what, Tuesday? It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. And yeah, I'm ready for the hot tub already. Also, going back to Bench Clear Media, they have a show out, if you have not seen it, Chasing Cardboard. And it's fun. It's Ty and Mike and their team going around the country and buying collections of different things and showing what they find and all that stuff. So looks like it's a good show. I've watched the first couple episodes. I think there's been one more that I haven't caught up on yet, but definitely check that out. Chasing Cardboard is the name of it. Raul, AEIH Sports, good to see you. Hope you are doing well, man, in the Chicago area. What am I buying at the moment? So the last card that I got in the mail, I did put it on Instagram. If you're not connected with me on Instagram, I'm at Sports Card Dad. But I got this card, was one of the recent ones that just came in. It's a red refractor. It's numbered out of, is it one? What is it numbered out of? 259. I just like the Topps Chrome refractors, and I've been looking at black and gold. I can show you kind of the other ones that I have, and I've got. So these are kind of recent buys, but Breeze Black Refractor over here. I really like the 2006 Topps Chrome because it's first year Saints Breeze. So that's why I like it. And then I just picked this one up for 40 bucks. It's numbered out of 199 and it's the gold, Topps Chrome Gold numbered out of 199 from 2008. And I also just bought this in a PSA 9 as well. And I think it's just it's the color match. It's the color match that that gets me every time. Yep. So this card, I just look at like the Tom Brady card. The comp on the Tom Brady card for this is like $2,000 or $3,000 in a PSA 10 for Breeze. This one was 300. So they're not giving them away in PSA 10s, but still for my PC guy, that's pretty good price. Pretty good price point. Not a lot of PSA 10s. What is up, Charles? Good to see you. Going to be epic. Yeah, card shows have been busy. I mean, I didn't see a ton of the Dallas content, but what I did see, I think I saw Friday footage, and it looked busy. It looked really busy on Friday. That show's definitely become more and more popular for sure. The first one I went to was a year ago. That was the one where the first and the last one that I went to was May of 2021. And that was the one where a lot of content people went because we weren't sure if the national was going to happen. And so I went to that one and it was a lot of fun. That was the first time I met a lot of the content creators face to face, Flippin' Steve and Brad, Comeback Card Investor. First time I'd met him face to face. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that Dallas show. And then of course the national was awesome too. Waiting isn't too much fun, but I'm with you on that. Yeah, it always pays off though. But I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't done it to where I've actually waited and saved properly to where I was really well funded at a card show yet. I always kind of seem to blow it. So I need to. I'm trying to really be patient and watch myself, kind of check myself a little bit. How do you see the worldwide economic issues affecting our amazing hobby? I think it's going to affect it. I think it's going to affect it in a big way. Obviously, we don't really know. We don't really know. The overall effect, but I think it's going to have an effect, and I don't think that it's. I think that this is going to be kind of a progression. And I don't think it's all going. Like the world is going to burn, and we all need to build. Underground lairs to go down and live in, or whatever. I don't think that that's quite the case. But I do think that there is going to be, especially just when we look at just how high prices were on a lot of stuff over the last almost 3 years, I think that that's going to sharply correct quite a bit. And I don't think that really anything is safe. I don't think that it's like, oh yeah, on base cards, that's what it is. No, I think it's going to be on rare, scarce stuff as well, because there's a lot of rare / scarce stuff out there. We're in an age, really, if you go back 30 years, it's manufactured scarcity, where you've got, maybe not 30 years, but definitely over the last 20 to 25 years, you have numbered cards, but you have a ton of numbered cards. You have a ton of parallels. You have a ton of autos, so I think you just have to kind of pick your spots and be happy with the price point that you're buying things at. But everybody I talk to, including myself, is definitely being very choosy with buying. Very choosy, because cash is king right now. If you have cash, if you look at what's happening at shows, that you see a lot of is people walking in there trying to trade, trying to sell out of stuff, or trying to a little bit of cash with some trade, etc. So cash is going to become king here pretty soon. I don't think that we're quite there yet, but if we get a couple more months of bad economic news in the U.S., I think that I did say, not that I think there's going to be, everything is going to be, going to zero at the national, because people are going to go there to spend money. And I don't think that pricing is just going to drop dramatically at the national. But I think around that time period, I'm very curious to see what my local Raleigh show looks like in a month. A month from now, it could be very different. It could be, really kind of starting to take hold. We'll see. We will see. Yep. Isn't the prevailing theory to buy when everyone else is running for the hills? Kind of. Yeah, it really is. I mean, you kind of nailed that, Brendan. Like, everybody runs for the hills, and the people that hang around and, stay in the game if they're able to. It's all about discretionary income too. If you're able to hold on to your job, because a lot of times too, there's economic things going on where you just can't control it. You've got, crazy stuff happening, you're losing your job. Those are things that can happen with a deep recession. The one thing that's interesting about what's going on now is unemployment is still very low. So that's kind of a thing where it's not as if we're seeing kind of rising rates, everyone's losing their job, companies cutting business, businesses cutting back on hiring. So that's good, and that's something that we'll have to kind of just see how that goes. But it's like if you can hang on to your job and then also continue to, I think, buy certain, assets. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to look like down the road. We don't know which assets are the ones. That's kind of the tricky thing. Nobody knows. I was just talking about Bitcoin. I'm putting money into Bitcoin for the long term, pure speculation. I've done a lot of research on it. I think there's a lot of smart people that are involved in it. I like kind of a lot of the different theories around why it could be a good store of value down the road. Is it going to be for everybody? No, not even close. But for me, it's worth getting in, a portion of my money in it. And then other cryptos too, so cryptos, cards, graded comic books. I think it's all kind of in the same world. We're living in a world where this is globally. This is not just in the US, where currencies are losing value every year. So think of it like that. Think of it from that standpoint of, the US dollar is, the euro is, the yen is, it's not it's a global issue, So what do people do when their currency is sliding down in value over time? They're getting into rare assets or trying to have things that potentially are a store of value. I'm going off on a tangent, but anyway, I want to talk to you guys about, you bought a Drew Brees card. What a shock. Yep, I know. There are other cards that I'm looking for. I'm just waiting. I'm just kind of, I'm picking my spots, as they say. There's other Brees cards I want, but there's also there's other stuff in general I'm waiting on. So we'll see. Warren D 73. I did put in the title of the video, what do you guys think of the new product pricing? And there's so many rumblings, and I think it's worth talking about new products, hobby box pricing, all the stuff. It just hasn't caught up yet, it doesn't feel like. And why is new product so expensive? And I guess my question is, I was talking about this with some of my Discord friends, is it because every breaker out there, whether it be a large breaker, small breaker, is buying a box of, Prism football at $1,500 for the break and then passing down that cost to the consumer? Obviously, they've got to fill the breaks, so someone has to pay for it some way. But is it breakers kind of keeping this thing alive? And I know that the part of the answer is like, hey, well, we need breakers to get, to break the product so we have access to singles. But, I just don't know. I mean, and I did see, who was it? There was there was a big Instagram account. Oh man, I'm trying to remember who it was, but basically had put something out saying like, hey, we're not going to bother getting into this box because we don't think it's right. Like basically, like we could buy $1,500 Prism boxes, but we really don't think it's right to get into this product and then charge what we need to charge to make some money off of it. And so basically they're just skipping it. They're just skipping it because with the hopes that if everybody skips it, then product sits and it becomes affordable again, and that part hasn't really caught up yet as far as hobby correction stuff. That part has not caught up yet. All right, I'm missing a few here. Just trying to get back up to where I was last. Gainesville, 25 minutes away. Yep. I lived in Florida for a long time, so I've been to Gainesville many times. I had to watch political ads before you came on live. Bummer, the political ads are back. Oh man. Yeah, it's season. It's that season again, isn't it? It's that season again. Is it though? Crazy Kev? I mean, yes, to a certain degree, yes, of course. Whoever's got cash, I think it's going to be important, but there is something to kind of, the depletion of the value of currencies globally. There's something to that where I think, part of kind of that Bitcoin FOMO or gold, whichever you're hedging with. Some people are big gold people or silver or whatever precious metals. And it is kind of like a FOMO-ish thing of like, in the sense of like, I don't want to get stuck where like currencies, like it's $1,000 to get a cheeseburger, but when I could have bought gold or I could have bought Bitcoin, I could have bought the hedge, that's more valuable now, and I think that's where it's kind of people are in a weird spot with it. Historically, with a downturn in the economy and high inflation, card prices have gone up, and we've seen this since 1942. The pandemic with a hobby is something to study further. And Ryan, we've gone back and forth on this, and I know that what your argument is going to be. History has done this, and I'm going to do what probably doesn't come across as a smart thing to say, but I think that this time is different. So, and the reason why I think this time is different than other parts of history is because of, first off, card prices went ballistic over the last 3 years. That never happened. And now they didn't go ballistic to the sense of that they needed correction ever that I know of. And you would know more than me, but even going back, I don't think that's ever happened. What happened in 2020 between whatever, fall 2019 to March 2021. I don't think that amount of money went into cards over that time. So there had to be some sort of kind of correction. So when we're talking about card prices have gone up, they've already gone up so much and then, they've had to correct. I think that's the piece that's different. The other piece that's different is that we have $30 trillion of debt in the United States to where we could just raise rates and solve this thing. When inflation got out of control, no problem, raise rates. Well, now we can't raise rates because we're raising rates on our own debt. So that's where we've got some different issues. But I appreciate you throwing your 2 cents in because I like where your head is, and I'm not saying you're wrong because you might be right. You might be right. The real asset collector coming in hot with the real assets. I like what you did there. Oh, Charles, coming in. Unemployment will skyrocket into 2023. Everybody will be using Marvel PMGs for currency. What? They always do after they announce a recession, even though we're in one now, going to be tons of great pickups for a couple of years. Yeah. Well, yeah, unemployment and real estate are kind of like the last pieces. That's where real estate pricing is still high. Mortgages have doubled over the last 12 months as far as the average rate goes, and really hasn't affected pricing that much that I've seen. So real estate and unemployment are kind of those two wild cards to watch here over the next couple of months. I'm not smart. I have no Drew Brees cards. Hey, I'm not saying that I'm smart for having Drew Brees. I'm just, you know me, I'm a diehard Saints fan, Mike. So when I can get Brees cards for 1/10 of the Tom Brady stuff. Now, to be fair, 25% roughly of my collection is Tom Brady stuff. So keep that in mind as well. So I've got Tom Brady hedging with Drew Brees. I'm kidding. I like both of those guys, really. I've been buying, still haven't sold this year. Nice, Jacob. I know the Willie Mays train, but here's the problem though, Travis, is a lot of people have been on the Willie Mays train for a while. I remember at last year's National, I brought up Mike from Baseball Collector, and I was like, this is at last year's National. This is going back 10 months, and there people were chasing Willie Mays there too. They were chasing. Hold on one second. Let me just hit mute. We've got some loudness here. I have to yell at the kids. All right, there we go. They're being loud back there. So yeah, I hear you on the Willie Mays stuff, but I just feel like prices have gone up pretty dramatically on his stuff too. I have the one Willie Mays card I've got and actually the other stuff that I was looking at last year, I should have bought it last year because now we're not in such a great. Now the price has just gone up. But I have a really cool. If I had it handy, I would pull it out. But it's a Fleer. It's like a 2001 Fleer. I'm trying to remember kind of that subset. It's like the. Oh man, it's like the bats, and it's an auto. It's a Willie Mays auto, but it's a pack pulled auto. It was actually one where you had to send in like a redemption. They think there's only about 50 or 60 that have been printed, and mine is the highest graded one, PSA 7. So it's a really cool Willie Mays auto pack pull card that I have, and it's funny. I don't have any vintage Willie Mays. I have one of his 20-year-old auto pack pull cards. Yeah, it's rare though. I mean, it's good. It's a good one. I like that one. All right. Still have never sold in 50 years. Wow, Mike, you must have a crazy collection. Go Gators. Go Gators. I miss Steve Spurrier's Gators though. That's my only thing. 200 ounces of physical. Are you allowed to own physical gold these days? I thought they did away with that. You have bullion hidden under your mattress? Well, yeah, I mean the hedge is, it's gold and it's Bitcoin, and I guess silver. Yeah, like those are kind of the main hedges that everyone talks about anyway, against the dollar, against currencies. So, yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah, if you have no debt and you have assets, then you're probably doing all right, Mike. All right, I'm not going to put up all of your "I'm not smart" chats. All right, we get it. We get it. Gold, real asset collector says gold is undervalued, but rising rates over medium term help the dollar and hurt gold. All else equal, since it doesn't produce income, and that's coming from a long term gold bug. Yeah, the gold bugs and the Bitcoin guys. It's probably not a bad idea to have some of both, frankly. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm just trying to get as much of the thing, like just trying to gather as much of the stuff as I can and just hope for the best. I will say though, not sitting on a lot of cash. Like definitely have cash, emergency fund and all that stuff, but not trying to hold tons of it. Still trying to, especially if asset prices drop, watching all that very, very closely. It's hard to hold cash when you feel like there's good value out there. Ma, the meatloaf. Yeah. I was actually asking, actually asking for dinner to be brought up. Exactly. Judge Judy. That's right. I'm curious what will happen with collecting over the next few years. Baseball, hockey have diehard collectors. Will the interest in F1 and UFC remain? Could be. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think that there's lots of F1 and UFC right now, but you've seen the price spike, I guess, just because there's not a lot of product. Although I've heard that there's a lot of new product coming out for that stuff. So I guess that'll be the main test. The test will be on a lot of that stuff of, the test will come as more product comes out, I think. Yeah, but you're right. It's like, are they diehard collectors or not? Because we'll find that out over the next couple of years. Yeah, Mike, you're killing the chat with the "I'm not smarts." We understand it. We understand it. Dustin, you're right. It's absolutely different because we've never been here before. But I do remember a correction after the '94 strike. I've heard that 80% of all money printed was in the last 2 years. Well, I've heard so. I didn't hear as much as 80%, but I've heard as high as 40% was printed over the last 2 years. I think it was actually Saylor that said that. He's the big Bitcoin guy. I've heard 20%, 40%, 80% seems like a lot. I don't think that it was 80%. But even if it was 20%, of all the money, which I think it was a little bit higher than that. Even if it was 20%, that's still an insane amount. So that's what we are going to have to pay for that. And that's always kind of the issue with stimulus. Everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, stimulus, we get this check," not realizing that we're just going to pay for it on the back end. It's not free money. It's not. It's not. And you see what's happening now. You got the free money, and now groceries are twice as much and gas is twice as much. We don't want the free money. You think you want it, but you don't. Gold coins and shaker tubes, shake them like maracas. Okay, Mike, you're getting crazy. Invest in relationships. Well, Will, look at you. You're coming in with something different. Now, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about like romantic relationships or friendship, like hobby relationships, friendships, parents? What do you get? Let's dive in a little bit there. Change the channel back to Personal Finance Dad. It's going to get tons of views in the next 2 years. Or just start a second channel called The Personal Finance Dad. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I've noticed that stuff has definitely been on people's minds. I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, with my channel, I do try to talk about card stuff as it relates to real world things. And the real world is inflation and what's going on in the economy, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'm kind of with you here, that reseller guy. I think, there was a Netflix documentary, there was this, that, or whatever, but 18 months ago, nobody cared at all about F1, period. End of story. Nobody cared about it. So yeah, I mean, maybe they'll continue to care about it, but I don't know. Oh, Bag Buffwell coming in with what happened? Is this the Barkley Charles? What happened to the Charles? You had a Charles Barkley and now you changed it to Bag Buffwell. Invest in romance novels. All right. Romance novels. Get them graded. Who's grading romance novels? I'm sure somebody is. And if they're not now, they will be. They definitely will be. What's up, Tube Nachos? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Bark Charlesley. Yeah, bring that back. I don't mind. I think that's like a Jeff Bagwell one you're doing now. Bag Buffwell, maybe. Is it Jeff Bagwell? I like the Bark Charlesley. Yes, I will be at the National. I will be at the National this year. I'm really looking forward to it. Are you going to be going? OC Sales Online? Who all is going? Anybody in the chat going? I don't think that it's going to be a complete bloodbath as far as pricing goes, because I think that here's the thing is I think that a lot of people are going to hold steady on their prices. It's no different than what you're seeing. I heard the same thing with, in Dallas. It's not as if everybody is just going to bow out and just sell. I think that dealers are going to hold firm. Now, if you're at the National and you've spent a few $1,000s to be there and you've traveled and my God, flights are $1,000 or whatever, maybe they will be more motivated this year to move some things at lower prices. I don't know, but I will tell you that I am going to test it out. I will be testing it. I'm going to be laser solid, rock solid. And I'm not saying that I'm going to win anything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I am going to be lowballing, and not because I'm trying to be a jerk, but look, I mean, it's just, look, whether you're collector, investor, hybrid, whatever, I want to get as many cards as I can. And the only way I can do that is if I'm buying low. It's the only way I can do it. So I'm not going to overpay. I might pay comps on something that has slid down, to where it's like, okay, this is a card I've been wanting for a long time. I'll pay the comp, but I'm obviously not paying over any sort of a comp. And I'm not, paying any sort of imaginary comp, type thing. It's like, we're in now. It's changed now. It's a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It was a seller's market for the last 2 years, and it no longer is. So now, yes, if you've got, a green PMG Michael Jordan, then it's a seller's market for you. If you've got a T206 Honus Wagner, it's still a seller's market for you. But outside of extremely high-end stuff, I think a lot of stuff is fair game. Everything that I play in, I don't play in the massive, high-end markets. So it's all fair game, all the stuff that I typically buy. All right. Romance novels and Beanie Babies. Buff Bagwell, NWO. Liquidated in November when the smart people said go cash. Now I'm shopping. There you go. Buff Bagwell, the wrestler. Okay, so that's not a Jeff Bagwell thing. See, I didn't piece that together. I got thrown off because of the Barkley Charles or whatever, the Bark Charlesley. Hard John Ba. I like it. Absolutely not. Jimmy Graham does not go to the Hall of Fame. Jimmy Graham. Now, look, here's in defense of Jimmy Graham. I would say for a professional athlete that's putting his body on the line every week and you're playing the most physical sport outside of maybe rugby. I guess maybe, pro hockey is pretty brutal too. You're getting beat on. I don't blame Jimmy Graham for turning into a massive diva when it was second contract time, because he did earn it. The first 4 years for the Saints, He was absolutely dominant on that rookie contract. And then when it came time to get paid, he wanted to get paid like a wide receiver. Fair enough. We were using him like one. But he then everything kind of went downhill after that. He got paid, and then after that, it was not saying his numbers went completely downhill, but it kind of just felt like it was like, I'm here to cash in, I'm here to make my money, and I'm out. And outside of so no, I can't see Jimmy Graham. If we're talking about the Saints tight end that eventually went to all the other teams, then maybe there's another Jimmy Graham that you're talking about. But if it's that Jimmy Graham, then I would say hell no. All right, we'll see you there. We will see you there, real asset collector. 200 ounces of silver yesterday. Well, Brian, you didn't buy any gold? You didn't listen to Peter Schiff? I'm actually pretty disappointed in you. Silver, huh? Embarrassing. Won't be at the National. We'll be out of the country during that event. That stinks. That stinks. Negotiations are going to be a major issue at the National. Dealers want to make money, but the margin is bye-bye. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, though, I guess, with the National, and actually why I'm also probably even more excited about, well, I shouldn't say more excited, but just as excited about the Raleigh card show is the National is heavy on vintage. It's heavy on everything, but it's definitely heavy on vintage. So if you are a vintage dealer at the National, then you're probably okay. I mean, it's not like you're selling stuff at rock bottom. It's not like, and frankly, a lot of stuff has still gone up. So you're probably doing just fine. If it's modern, ultra modern tables, those are the people that are going to be pressed. There's going to be a lot of people probably, look, with the amount of people that go to the National, there will be buyers there. It's just a matter of, are you going to sell it for what buyers are asking? It's going to be really interesting to watch too. I'm not going to bring $1 zillion to where I'm going to every table and buying things, but I also I'm going to watch it around me, see what's going on, and kind of read the room, do my best to read the room, and get a feel for the action and what's going on. Now, look, there's still going to be huge deals done at the National. I saw someone was talking about how they saw six-figure deals done at Dallas, the Dallas show. So there will be massive deals. But like I said, that ultra high-end market is a completely separate market than everybody else. All the market that most of us are working in. Mike Petty is obviously in that market with the T206s, but everybody else outside of Mike, no, we're in the lower stuff. There's a big opportunity at the moment in the 2000 refractors and X-fractors. I've noticed more people are gravitating towards them lately due to them being numbered and having great aesthetics. Well, that's kind of where, and I don't know if you saw this earlier, FV, but Drew Brees being my PC guy, and you're right. I mean, there is kind of the numbered Topps Chrome refractors. Also, kind of hearing that Topps is staying around, that brand. So Topps Chrome will carry on. I kind of like the idea of it's just it all works together. It's my favorite PC player. They're numbered. There's some level of scarcity. They're graded. I just want to see what those do over time. Do I expect them to 10x? No, but I think that they're kind of a cool store of value. We'll see what happens with them as time goes on. Modern basketball PSA 10s, pretty hard, bargains galore. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there probably is. I haven't even followed pricing on it to know. I mean, the thing that is crazy, if you look at just how guys are playing, like Ja Morant is an example of like, he's one of these exciting new draft pick guys. He's played lights out. He's played unbelievable basketball. I think one of the bigger problems, with today's product is just the sheer amount of rookie cards that guys have, and then the parallels of the rookies, and then the autos. And once you go down the line of everything that has been made for that player, it's like, what's special? Like, which ones are special? And some people say, oh, it's the gold prism numbered out of 10, or it's the RPA. Oh, cool. Well, I don't have $100,000 to drop on the RPA or the gold prism. So then what? Do you just not do anything? It's tough. What's up, Ziggy? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Lots of players are successful because of system and players around them. Then they are exposed in other systems. Okay. Fair point. Fair point. Oh, you must be talking about Jimmy Graham. I hope that you are. Well, that would pertain to Jimmy Graham. Yeah, yeah, he became very, very average. What's up, Shane? Good to see you. Have I been dabbling in other collectibles beyond sports cards lately? I have not been lately. I have been watching graded video games. I have been watching graded video games. Yeah, I have. WADA, the main grading company for graded video games, there was just a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit that was filed against them. I happen to like their slabs, and I also think that, you know, well, I think they will survive the lawsuit. So, not I don't know the ins and outs of the lawsuit. I honestly don't care. I'm really just looking at more of I like the way that the way their cases look, and I'm looking to see, okay, because of this lawsuit, are people going to react and dump all of their WADA games? So I've been looking at that as an option. Hey, if WADA goes to zero, everyone hates WADA, goes out of business, whatever, then I can, maybe that is an instance where I crack and send to VGA, the other grading company. I don't know, but my point is I've been paying attention to graded video games. Haven't bought any, but I have seen kind of rumblings of, dump all your games. And if that's the case, I'd be interested in just paying attention to it. I've been collecting the original 30 black box NES games. I've talked about it before, but so that's something that I've been watching. You're right. I'm an and guy. I am. Graded starting lineups. I think those are cool. Yeah. Yep. Many people are choosing between buying cards or shares of 70% off stock. That's the hardest part, Mark, and I'm totally with you. There's a lot of I think the problem is there you can look and find opportunity everywhere right now, whether it be cards or equities or well, not real estate. I would say not real estate. Real estate, and like we said earlier in the stream, like that's the one of the last places where it's just kind of hung on. We'll see what happens. Mortgage rates going up, but there's a lot of options, and I think a lot of people are just frozen right now. Like, where do I put my money? And crypto dropped dramatically. I bought more in just because I want to dollar cost average what I've got. So I just kind of same positions, just doubled down on the stuff because the stuff hasn't changed. Like the actual stuff, like it's not as if they came out and said like, oh, they figured out that this doesn't work or that's no good or blah, blah, blah. There's no like horrific company news outside of Bitcoin Luna, that catastrophe with the stable coin. Outside of that, you look at a lot of the stuff and it's just dropped dramatically without any real bad news. It's just dropped dramatically based on sentiment and the overall economic effect. And you're right, with stock, it's kind of like, should I be buying stock? So that's I totally get it. It's a tough one right now. Hoping to make a visit to National, say hello. Yeah, man, come on down. Come on up. Oh, you're not even that far. You're in Virginia. Yeah, come, definitely. You are not too far away from there. Yeah, non-sports cards. I buy Marvel stuff. I buy this is a card that I got maybe 2 weeks ago. It's from that 2013 Fleer Retro set. It's signed by an artist that designed this, and this is kind of nostalgic for me because this is the 91 Impel set. This is an insert card from that Fleer Retro that is signed. So the regular inserts are one out of like 80 packs. The signed ones are one out of 800 packs, and the boxes are thousands and thousands of dollars. And this card was less than $200. So expensive Marvel card, but if you break down how, kind of the rarity, and I like the character, I like, got the nostalgia 91 Impel insert attached to it. So yeah, I buy some non-sports. I'm not on the Star Wars craze. I do like Star Wars. I'm excited for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but I haven't gone on and, jumped on the Star Wars cards. Haven't done it. Platinum breaks. I saw the stuff on them. I'll be honest. I just breakers in general. I'm kind of, I don't know how I feel about it. I've never been into it though. So it's not like I've been into it. I know a ton about it and now I have an opinion on it. What I just worry about is, are they helping to keep the prices up? And is it just kind of helping? Now, look, if you have disposable income to buy into a bunch of breaks, then great. And it's entertaining and this and that and whatever. But if you're someone that has kind of an issue where you're just kind of, there's an addiction element to it, that worries me. It's I feel like it's hard enough just with buying singles to try to maintain, try to hold value in buying singles of cards, let alone breaks. It's very, very tough. So, um, I saw some of the stuff that came out. I've never dealt with platinum breaks, so I have no idea. You know, so yeah, I mean, I don't really have any sort of take on it because I don't do breaks at all. I did watch the video. There was kind of a two-part series of, what they were talking about. I think it was him, like there was a redemption card, an empty box, or some people were saying like magic hands, moving some cards around. It didn't look right. I watched the video and I agree. It didn't look right. I don't know if there was some reasoning behind it. I don't know. I have no idea, but I can see though why people watch the videos and were like, I don't really like that. I get that part. Charlie Batch or Aaron Brooks. Yeah, both those guys were interesting players. I was actually at the Joe Horn cell phone game, was the first New Orleans Saints game that I went to in person at the Superdome. And that was in 2003 against the Giants. Great game to go to. It was 30, I think it was 35-7. It might have been Aaron Brooks's best game ever. And then it was all kind of downhill from there whenever I've gone to watch Saints games in the Dome. No, I'm kidding. I've seen them win, but I've seen some horrific losses in the Dome as well. Popcorn at the National. Yep. You know what, Ryan? I wish I had time for that Retro Game Dad channel. I just don't. So what happened was I had about a month, maybe like 6 weeks after I started that channel, I had kind of a big life event at home to where basically my older kids came to live with me full time. So went from having 2 kids at home to having 4 kids at home, teenagers. And so just life, it's having 4 kids at home, managing the schedules, managing everything. I could not maintain the other channel. I really enjoyed it. I do enjoy it. I still do. I play the original NES. I've got one of those mini NESs, that I play on. I love all that stuff. It's part of my, childhood nostalgia stuff. But I can barely keep up what I'm doing on this channel, let alone, that Retro Game Dad channel. I hope to go back. I'm leaving it there in case, down the road, maybe we'll see, but I wish I had time. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. If WATA was not owned by collectors, then maybe I could see like, okay, that's a fragile, that's fragile. That company's in a fragile state. But the fact that they're owned by the conglomerate, I just feel like they'll settle the lawsuit. They'll just settle it. I'm guessing, obviously, but I think they'll figure it out. Mike's asking if anyone has graded 8-track tapes. That might actually be next. Still buying, but shifting the game plan from raw to graded. Cash is king, but so is inventory at a largely discounted rate. Yeah. Yeah, I really want to I feel like I didn't get a chance to really get into the buying raw and then sending off to grade. I was in the hobby in 2018 is when I got back in. And I didn't think to kind of get into that space, buying raw to grade. I was just buying graded cards because I was kind of worried that it was going to be like, are these raw cards in bad condition? I couldn't really like look at it on eBay and know, so I just bought graded cards. But I do agree when grading kind of comes back around, they're all caught up, prices go down for grading. I would like to be doing more of the buying raw to grade thing. Absolutely. I see what you did there. Real estate. The National in a nutshell, shoving an eBay comp in a dealer's face in awkward silence. Well, actually, first going to that eBay sold listing to make sure that it wasn't shilled, to make sure that the comp that we're looking at is actually like a real one. God, it's going to get to a point where you have to go to like the sold listing and like scroll, like actually look and be like, oh, look, this is where the shilling started at like $300. So that's what I'll pay. I'm not paying the 700 that I got bid up to. That's probably where we'll get to at some point. Sports card swag. Dallas was a disaster. First and last time I attend that show. Why was that? Please let me know. I'd like to hear, why as an attendee, why you didn't have a good time there. Silver for food, gold for city blocks. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, same thing, Ryan. Yeah, I wanna know, I've been to that show once and enjoyed myself, but I'd like to hear other people. Stopped buying new cards, buying graded autos from stars of my childhood. Yep. Yeah, and that's been kind of my shtick for a while is buying Hall of Fame auto cards. If you follow me, you know I buy like I don't have tons of them, but I've got 3 or 4 Joe Namath autos. I always show the same one, but it's just right in front of me. So, but like he's got a great autograph. There's a lot of on-card options, and frankly, football cards just are a fraction of the cost of a lot of the other sports. Breakers are overinflating box prices. Can't stand them and ruin the hobby. That's kind of the way that I feel about about some of that. I'll be honest. I mean, it just feels like a lot of product is bought up, it's broken. It's like we're selling spots, and the higher the price, the higher I assume that the higher the cost has to be. And to defend breakers, I don't necessarily think they're necessarily making huge money, not the same money that they were 2 years ago. I think they're taking smaller margins on a lot of things just to get customers, but they're having to take a smaller margin because they're paying $1,500 for a prism box or whatever, assuming they don't have allocation. I know some have allocation, I know that, but a lot of them don't. A lot of big breakers do not have allocation. So I don't know. I do want to see the new Top Gun. I actually heard that it kind of romanticizes like the 80s and some of the Reagan years, some of the good things, and so I'm pumped. I'm all about the 80s nostalgia stuff. I think I'm excited for that. Without resale value coming into play, what is your best defensive player to PC? If we're talking about football, I mean, some people argue with me because, I have maybe 4 or 5 LT rookie cards. He's the best defensive player of all time in the NFL, arguably, but I mean, he's up there top 3 on anybody's list. But I know he's had a lot of off the field type issues too, so I don't really know. That's kind of the tough one. Um, I don't buy a lot. I was just thinking I don't buy a lot of defensive players. I have you know what? Bruce Smith, 86 Topps Bruce Smith. I've got 2 of those and PSA 9s. It's a pretty affordable card. But he's the all-time sack leader, and nobody cares. Nobody cares in the hobby. But I love that 86 Topps set anyway. And then he happens to be the all-time sack leader. So and actually, and no one's even close. So when you think about records that are like, oh, well, the passing records that are being broken, nobody's even close to Bruce Smith. So something just to keep in mind. I would like to have a PSA 10 86 Topps at some point, but obviously they're a lot more expensive. We'll see. Yeah, you're right, Mark. Yeah. So actually, let me say this too. PSA 9s are selling for less than raw. I'm speaking in the sense of like, rare stuff. Make it so there's a lot of good deals on raw stuff that is, numbered, that is, that is fairly rare. I know there's a lot of like rare things. There's a lot of numbered things out there now, but for me, what I think of when I'm buying raw cards is this like a one of one? Is this like, is this something that is rare enough to where if I get an 8 on it, it doesn't even matter, because I'm not some grading expert. So, I want it to be rare enough raw to where, we're all good. Had a blast at Dallas Card Show. Went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, jam packed and lots of fun. Got some great deals. What did you get into, Retro Russell? If you don't mind, you don't have to. Just what sport? What sport were you focused on? You don't have to say what it was, or if you want to, great. Either way. Ryan, that is a weird statement. A new grading company that you like. Well, how about that? How about that? Yeah, I understand the initial kind of reaction of, oh, another new grading company, but I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't think that they had some good kind of a value proposition. So that company was Rare Edition. That's the my latest video, and it's not like, I'm not sponsored or any sort of, I don't have any affiliation, but I like the people when I met them, the Mint Collective, and then I listened to the story and I looked at what they had created, and it was like, and then I held the slab in my hand for anyone that didn't see the video. This is the card that they sent me as kind of a look and see, like a product review type thing. And so it's like an iPhone case. It's like an iPhone case, but it's got a lot of technology in it, especially compared to a lot of the other companies, frankly. Subgrades are on the back. So this one got slammed because of Surface. As you can see, there's a QR code, and then there's the NFC. What is it? NFC token? Not NFT, NFC. But my point again though is like there's a lot of technology on this slab, and then it's got the bumper. It's got kind of the bumper. It's made out of this like polycarbonate type stuff where they like dunked it in water for 24 hours, no water damage. So for me, I was thinking like if you're not as much worried about the grade and you're more worried about protecting that card. Like I've got an amazing PC card and I just want to make sure that it's protected. Like to me, this would be I would go ahead and get it graded with Rare Edition. But look, I mean, the technology stuff too, the security stuff, if the other companies don't kind of get it together and get better with technology stuff, a company like that can build a name for itself. The problem with grading companies is they just need time to build a name for themselves. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It was worth talking about. Travis, the next two shows I'm going to: Raleigh Card Show in June, at the end of June, and then I'm going to the National at the end of July. Those are the next two. Trying to save every last dime so that I've got a few bucks when I go there, but I'm looking forward to those. Did I see Flippin' Steve in here earlier? I think I did. Oh, yeah, yeah. Buff Bagwell, the wrestler. Okay. Do you think the data tools, i.e. market movers, card ladder, are overrated since the data they use can't be trusted because of shielding and the like? That's actually an excellent question. Oh, I could go kind of down a rabbit hole with this one. So on the one hand, I really like the fact that somebody is doing that work, that there is someone creating data tools. The part that I don't, the part that I would like to see kind of just more emphasis on is the work isn't done yet. Like there's a lot more data that needs to be gathered. And then also a lot more data that has to be kind of sorted through, to your point, to make sure it's not shilled, to make sure of, issues with it, which sales are being included. And so over time, I use them, but I use them less and less. In part just because of this. I use them for things where it's like I can quickly get information, but then I dig into that information more. So I think for people that are really taking all that at face value, it's they are good tools as a guide, as a source. They are not the end all be all. They are not tracking any, they're tracking some, private sales, but let's be real. I mean, how many zillions of private sales are missing? And it's impossible for them to get all those private sales. It's not possible, so it's not a knock on them. It's just that understanding the limitations of what the data tool can and can't do. And until those data tools automate certain processes with that data that they're gathering, there has to be some sort of, I'm not a technology person, but, algorithm, something to where it's able to sort, kind of, but it has to be automated. Humans are never going to get all that right. Think of all the transactions, all the cards, all the stuff. It has to, I guess my main point is like, I think they've done well. They've come a long way. They offer different ways to look at things, but there's a long way to go with data tools. And I hope that they recognize that. I hope that they are working to keep improving. They have good tools. Look, I think that both of those options right there, I think they have a good product, but keep on going, keep on innovating. Don't stop, keep going. That would be what I would say about data tools. We're talking about selling cars. TJ sold a car to CarMax, paid 16.5 and got 14.4. I know used cars are so damn expensive. But now what are you going to buy? Now that used cars are so expensive, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a really nice bike, a Huffy or like a moped, like like Dumb and Dumber traded in the sheep wagon and got the moped. Aaron Donald rookie autos are a bargain. It's a shame. Yeah, it's just like the hobby doesn't care about defensive players. Great, and you point out Aaron Donald being one of the greats. All right, iconic trading cards. I appreciate it. I'm going to jump off here in about 5 minutes, guys. So if you have any other things you want to talk about here in the last, throw in a couple of topics if you'd like, and we can go through it. Can you describe the rare grade report? Any details would be helpful. Yeah, that was one thing that was missing from my video, and you're right. I should have scanned that card that they sent and put that up with the video. Maybe what I can do is do just a YouTube post with a picture of it, to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. I'll see if I can go back and do that as opposed to making like a whole nother video on it. We'll see. Because you're right, like the grading notes, grade report, that would be interesting to to look at, because that's something that a lot of people have been calling for. A lot of the grading companies, the big four, they want, hey, can we get some grading? Like, why is this a 9? Why is this why is this an 8? Why is this a 4? So football, baseball, and hockey. I usually spend too much from case at Dallas show, but this time focused on bargain bins. Okay, nice. Yeah, the bargain bins, nice. June 12th in Winston-Salem might be an interesting one before Raleigh. It's a smaller show with a lot of the same dealers from Raleigh a week prior. Hickory has been a good one lately too. Yeah. I see those shows on the it's Tidewater. It's the same promoters. It's the same promoters. I just they're like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me. So I'm just like, do I want to go to those, or do I want to just like wait for the Raleigh show? Because the Raleigh show is every like 2 months. But yeah, I need to try out a couple of these other ones too. I work for a driving school, drive a Prius. My boss reimbursed me for gas. Okay, nice. That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. I'll try. I'll do my best. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, the Prius will probably run for a long time. My wife has an Avalon that's a hybrid, and we'll never own another car. I mean, when that one is done, we will get another Avalon hybrid. That's a really great car. Really enjoyed you and Brad's interview last week with a full-time flipper who I enjoy watching, by the way, but definitely makes me wonder what kind of money these guys are pulling in. Yeah, and I wonder too, it's not as easy as it used to be. So, and also it feels like, Kenny's awesome, but it feels like when I'm watching all those vlog guys now, it's like we're getting into a Curry, and then we're getting into a Jordan, and then we're getting into a Tom Brady. It's like you're flipping around goats, and maybe it's just to where you're able to move from one table to the next and kind of, I mean, those guys do a great job of it. But yeah, I would really be curious, because travel is not cheap. They're traveling all over the place. They're flying, and I'm buying flights, and they are not cheap. Airplane gas has gone up because it's wild. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. They must be doing well enough. Oh, and this week too, we have another kind of a flipper, but it's a guy that we haven't had on in a while. It's Chris Vegas Finds 777. He has a funny YouTube channel. I think he still has his YouTube channel up. But he's got really funny videos. If you go back, if that channel is still active, he's just overall really funny guy, but he buys all sorts of different types of collectibles, and he buys and sells. He's kind of a dealer of all that stuff, but also just a really funny guy. So that'll be Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, it's already tomorrow night. My God. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. With the card market and stocks almost going along the same trend, you believe in hedging of the card in the card market like in the stock market hedging is done? I'm doing all the hedging. Honestly, I'm trying to dive into all of it. Yeah. I wish I had more money to invest, but I'm trying to get pieces. I'm getting pieces of stocks, pieces of crypto, certain cards, graded comic books, other types of graded collectibles that I think have anything that I think is a good price point, And keep in mind too, I'm a long-term holder really for the vast majority of my stuff. So when I'm looking at something, I'm thinking like, what do I think this is going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And it's not to say that I would never sell anything, but it's just the point of I don't buy really much of anything, very, very few things where it's like, I'm going to buy this because I think this person's going to have a good season and I'm going to sell it right before the season starts. That's not really my jam. I've done some of that in the past. I did some of it in 2020, a little bit in 2021, but haven't done that in over a year, really much at all. Flippin' Steve will be with me at the Raleigh show. We'll have some video, although depending on the promoter, they don't allow video in the Raleigh show. So we're not going to have Raleigh show footage, but we'll definitely have some sort of footage in the parking lot or whatever and pickups and all that stuff. I agree. I really like the Avalon. 2006 Avalon. Wow, 366,000 miles. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love graded action figures. I love it. Now, as far as, store of value and, investing and all that, I don't know. It depends on so many different factors. I guess you just have to look at, and I haven't followed that market too. Has that market come down? And I just haven't followed it because I know that it went up kind of with everything else over the last couple of years with comics and with cards. How have graded action figures come down at all? And for the Star Wars, I've got some of the Ninja Turtle stuff from '88. But yeah, if you're talking about like the old Star Wars, like the Kenner stuff from '77, to 1980, I love that stuff. I don't own any of it, but I think it's really cool. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It is hot tub time. It is time for the hot tub. So, guys, have an amazing rest of your day, as we always say. Sorry, this was kind of this was my video today. I didn't make a video. It was just a slamming day, but I'm glad I got to see you guys for a few minutes. Take care of yourselves, obviously, during this weird economic time. Don't spend money that you don't have. We talk about all the, cards and all these things, but it's got to put food on the table first. And I'm thinking about that too. I'm trying to, all these things spinning with all the kids and everything, it's just trying to make sure that got everything going right. So anyway, take care, guys. I'll talk to you later.